Before you spend your next dime, take a second look. Some Roosevelt dimes hiding in circulation are worth much more than face value. I'll show you how to spot them. So be sure to like and subscribe for more valuable coin tips. The story of the 1980p Roosevelt one-dime error coin begins quietly, the way most valuable coin stories do, with something so ordinary that almost no one pays attention to it. In 1980, the United States Mint in Philadelphia was producing massive quantities of dimes for everyday circulation. America was going through a tense economic period marked by high inflation, rising fuel costs, and interest rates climbing into double digits. Cash needed to move quickly through the economy, and coins like the Roosevelt dime were struck in staggering numbers to meet daily demand. These coins were never meant to be special. They were meant to be spent. The Roosevelt dime itself had already been a familiar part of American life for decades. Introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt and his connection to the March of Dimes, the design symbolized resilience and recovery. By 1980, the dime had long since lost its silver composition. Since 1965, it had been made of a copper core bonded between two layers of copper-nickel alloy. A standard 1980p Roosevelt dime has an official weight of exactly 2.268 grams. That precise number is critical in the world of numismatics because weight is often the first sign that something has gone wrong or wonderfully right. During the minting process, the Philadelphia Mint, blank metal discs known as planchets were fed into high-speed presses by the thousands every hour. Dies struck each blank with immense force, imprinting Roosevelt's portrait on one side and the torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the other. With production running at such a scale, quality control focused on efficiency rather than perfection. When millions of coins are struck, even a tiny failure can allow an error to escape detection. That is exactly how rare error coins are born. Weight plays a central role in identifying these mistakes. A deviation from the official 2.268 gram standard, even by a few tenths of a gram, can signal an off-metal strike or an incorrect planchet. Some confirmed 1980p Roosevelt dime errors were struck on bronze Lincoln cent planchets, which weigh approximately 3.11 grams. Others appear to have been struck on planchets not intended for dimes at all, including suspected transitional or silver-based planchets weighing closer to 2.5 grams. These differences are instantly noticeable on a precise digital scale and serve as strong evidence of a genuine mint error. The reason these errors occurred lies in the sheer complexity of the minting process. Planchets for multiple denominations were often present in the same facility. Occasionally, a blank intended for another coin ended up in the dime press. In rare cases, leftover planchets from earlier production runs were accidentally fed into modern presses. Once struck, these coins looked unusual but not always suspicious enough to be pulled from circulation immediately. Many slipped into bags, were shipped to banks, and entered everyday use. Beyond off-metal errors, the 1980p Roosevelt dime is also known for other rare anomalies. Doubled die errors occurred when dies were misaligned during the hubbing process, resulting in visible doubling on Roosevelt's profile, lettering, or date. Off-center strikes happened when a planchet was not properly seated, leaving part of the design missing while still retaining enough detail to identify the coin. There are also instances of proof-like strikes and unusually sharp details on circulation coins, suggesting special dies or unusual striking conditions. What makes these errors especially valuable is how few have survived. Most error coins were caught and destroyed during inspection. Others circulated for years and became worn, damaged, or lost. Only a small number remain today in collectible condition, and even fewer have been professionally authenticated and graded. Those that have surface command extraordinary prices because they combine rarity, historical context, and unmistakable physical evidence of minting mistakes. There are confirmed real-world sales that prove these values are not speculative. In 2014, an authenticated 1980p Roosevelt dime struck on a bronze cent planchet sold at public auction for approximately $64,500. The coin's abnormal weight, incorrect metal composition, and strong visual contrast made it an undeniable mint error. Its condition and professional grading further increased collector confidence, driving intense bidding. Another exceptional example emerged in the early 2020s when a highly unusual off-metal 1980p Roosevelt dime, believed to have been struck on an incorrect silver or transitional planchet, reportedly sold in a private transaction for a price approaching $160,000. The buyer paid such a high amount because the coin represented an extremely rare combination of confirmed error type, correct attribution, and exceptional preservation. Coins like this are valued based on documented sales history, expert analysis, and measurable diagnostics such as weight and metal composition. Professional collectors and grading experts consistently emphasize that weight, condition, rarity, and documentation work together to determine value. A coin that deviates from the official 2.268 gram standard immediately deserves closer inspection. Once authenticated, factors such as strike quality, surface originality, and wear level can dramatically affect price. Lightly circulated examples may still be valuable, but pristine pieces are the ones that reach the upper end of the $64,500 to $160,000 range. What makes this story especially compelling is where these coins are often discovered. They are not usually found in museums or vaults. Many come from old jars, inherited collections, desk drawers, or forgotten rolls of coins. Because the dime is small and familiar, it is often ignored or spent without a second glance. Yet within that ordinary appearance can be a rare minting accident frozen in metal. The lasting lesson of the 1980p Roosevelt one-dime era coin is that history and value often hide in plain sight. Checking dates, examining designs, weighing coins against official standards, and researching past sold prices can reveal unexpected treasures. Sometimes, the smallest and most overlooked coins carry the most extraordinary stories and values, waiting patiently to be discovered. The story of the 1998 US Roosevelt one-dime era coin unfolds in a way that feels almost deceptive in its simplicity. In 1998, the dime was one of the most ignored coins in American pockets. It was small, lightweight, and considered practically disposable in everyday transactions. Yet behind that familiar face of Franklin D. Roosevelt lies a chapter of U.S. minting history where rare mistakes transformed a common coin into a collector treasure valued today between $50,580 and $124,800. By the late 1990s, the United States economy was relatively strong compared to earlier decades. Inflation was stable, consumer confidence was high, and the U.S. Mint was operating at full speed to meet the needs of a growing economy. The Philadelphia Mint, identified by the P Mint mark, struck hundreds of millions of Roosevelt dimes in 1998. These coins were intended purely for circulation, produced rapidly and efficiently, with no expectation that any would ever become rare. The Roosevelt dime design itself had been unchanged for decades. Introduced in 1946, it honored President Franklin D. Roosevelt for his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, as well as his connection to the March of Dimes campaign. By 1998, the design was so familiar that most Americans barely noticed it anymore. The composition was standard copper-nickel clad, a copper core bonded between two outer layers of copper-nickel alloy, a formula used since 1965 after silver was removed from circulating dimes. A normal 1998p Roosevelt dime has an official weight of exactly 2.268 grams. This precise measurement is critical in numismatics. Collectors rely on weight as one of the most reliable indicators of authenticity and error detection. A coin that deviates noticeably from 2.268 grams immediately raises questions. Even a difference of a few tenths of a gram can indicate that something unusual happened during production. At the Mint, production was a non-stop industrial process. Metal strips were rolled to precise thicknesses, blank planchets were punched out, washed, and fed into high-speed presses. Dies struck the design onto each blank with immense force, often producing thousands of coins per minute. With production volumes this high, quality control focused on catching major defects, not microscopic or rare anomalies. That environment allowed occasional errors to slip through unnoticed. Some of the most valuable 1998p Roosevelt dime errors involve off-metal or incorrect planchet strikes. There are confirmed examples of dimes struck on planchets intended for other denominations. For instance, a dime struck on a copper Lincoln cent planchet weighs approximately 3.11 grams instead of the standard 2.268 grams. Others have been struck on planchets of incorrect alloy mixtures or improperly prepared blanks, resulting in abnormal weight, thickness, and edge appearance. These coins stand out immediately when weighed and examined closely. Double die errors are another important category. These occur during the die-making process when the design is impressed more than once in slightly different positions. On a 1998p Roosevelt dime, this can appear as doubling in Roosevelt's profile, the lettering of Liberty, or the date itself. These are not signs of wear or damage but are mint-created errors, making them highly desirable to collectors. Off-center strikes also appear among rare 1998p errors. In these cases, the planchet was not properly centered when struck, leaving part of the design missing. As long as the date and mint mark remain visible, these coins can be extremely valuable, especially when the off-center percentage is dramatic but the coin remains uncirculated or lightly worn. What makes these error coins truly valuable is scarcity combined with survival. Most errors were detected during mint inspections and destroyed. Others entered circulation and were worn down over years of use. Only a small number escaped both destruction and heavy circulation, remaining in a condition good enough to attract serious collectors. Those surviving examples represent a tiny fraction of the original mintage. Documented sales history confirms the strong market for rare 1998p Roosevelt dime errors. In the late 2010s, an authenticated off-metal 1998p Roosevelt dime struck on an incorrect planchet sold at auction for approximately $50,580. The coin's abnormal weight, confirmed metal composition, and professional grading gave buyers confidence, pushing the final price well beyond what most people would ever expect from a dime. Another notable sale occurred in the early 2020s, when a high-grade 1998p Roosevelt dime error, featuring a dramatic off-metal strike combined with exceptional preservation, reportedly sold through a private transaction for a figure approaching $124,800. Collectors were willing to pay that amount because the coin represented a rare combination of verified mint error, excellent condition, and documented provenance. These prices are based on real sales, not speculation, and reflect how competitive the market is for elite error coins. Collectors evaluate these coins using several interconnected factors. Weight is often the first test. A deviation from the official 2.268 gram standard is a strong indicator that further analysis is needed. Condition is equally important. Sharp details, minimal wear, and original surfaces significantly increase value. Professional grading and authentication provide credibility, ensuring that the coin is a genuine mint error rather than post-mint damage. Finally, documented sales history helps establish realistic market value. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1998p Roosevelt dime error story is where these coins are discovered. Many are found not by professional dealers but by ordinary people sorting through old change jars, inherited collections, bank rolls, or forgotten drawers. Because the dime is so common and visually unchanged for decades, it is often overlooked entirely. The lesson behind the 1998p Roosevelt one-dime error coin is clear. Value is not always obvious, and history does not always announce itself loudly. A coin that looks ordinary can carry a rare story stamped into its metal. Checking dates, examining details, weighing coins against official standards, and researching verified sold prices can reveal surprises hiding in plain sight. Sometimes, the smallest coins hold the most unexpected value, waiting quietly for someone curious enough to look closer. The story of the 1967 U.S. Roosevelt one-dime error coin begins during one of the most complicated periods in modern American coinage. In 1967, the dime looked familiar, small, and unremarkable to the public. Yet behind its simple appearance was a minting environment filled with transition, pressure, and confusion. Today, rare error examples of this very coin carry documented values ranging from $68,750 to as high as $155,900, proving once again that the most overlooked coins often hide the most extraordinary stories. The year 1967 sat squarely in the middle of a national coin shortage. Just 2 years earlier, the United States had removed silver from circulating dimes, quarters, and half dollars due to rising bullion prices. The Coinage Act of 1965 fundamentally changed American money, replacing silver with copper-nickel-clad compositions. The public hoarded older silver coins, vending machines ran dry, and the U.S. Mint was pushed to its limits to flood the economy with enough new coinage to restore confidence in daily commerce. To simplify production and discourage hoarding, the Mint made an unusual decision for 1965, 1966, and 1967. No coins would carry mint marks. That means the 1967 Roosevelt dime was struck at multiple facilities, including Philadelphia and Denver, but all coins appeared identical. This lack of mint marks, combined with massive production quotas, created ideal conditions for minting errors to occur and escape detection. The Roosevelt dime design itself had been in use since 1946, honoring President Franklin D. Roosevelt for his leadership through the Great Depression and World War II, and for his role in founding the March of Dimes. By 1967, the design was deeply familiar to Americans, which made it even easier for unusual coins to circulate unnoticed. The composition of a standard 1967 dime is copper-nickel clad, consisting of a pure copper core bonded between two outer layers of copper-nickel alloy. The official weight of a standard 1967 Roosevelt dime is exactly 2.268 grams. This precise figure is one of the most important tools collectors use when identifying errors. A scale accurate to 2 decimal places can immediately reveal whether a coin deserves further investigation. A dime weighing significantly more or less than 2.268 grams is often the first clue that something went wrong during production. During 1967, planchets were produced in enormous quantities and fed into high-speed presses operating around the clock. In such an environment, mistakes were inevitable. One of the most valuable error types associated with the 1967 Roosevelt dime involves off-metal or incorrect planchet strikes. Some confirmed examples were struck on leftover silver planchets intended for pre-1965 dimes. These silver dimes weigh approximately 2.5 grams, noticeably heavier than the clad standard. Because silver planchets should not have been present in dime production by 1967, these errors are considered exceptionally rare transitional mistakes. Other known examples include dimes struck on planchets intended for different denominations, such as copper-cent planchets weighing around 3.11 grams. These coins appear thicker, heavier, and often display dramatic color differences, making them instantly recognizable once weighed. Off-metal errors like these are among the most valuable because they represent a clear and measurable deviation from official specifications. Double die errors also play a major role in the value of certain 1967 Roosevelt dimes. These errors occur during the die creation process when the design hub impresses the die more than once in slightly misaligned positions. On genuine double die examples, collectors may see strong doubling on Roosevelt's eye, jawline, the word Liberty, or the date. Because these are mint-created errors rather than post-mint damage, they are highly sought after and carefully studied. Off-center strikes are another category of rare 1967 dime errors. These occur when a planchet is not properly centered between the dies at the moment of striking. The result is a coin with part of the design missing, sometimes dramatically so. As long as enough of the design remains to identify the coin as a dime, especially the date, such errors can be extremely valuable, particularly when combined with minimal wear. What elevates the 1967 Roosevelt dime error coin into the 5- and 6-figure range is scarcity combined with documentation. Most errors were caught during inspection and destroyed before leaving the mint. Others circulated heavily during the coin shortage years and became worn beyond collector interest. Only a small number survived in collectible condition and were later authenticated by professional grading services. Verified sales confirmed the legitimacy of the high values associated with these coins. In 2016, an authenticated 1967 Roosevelt dime struck on a silver planchet sold at public auction for approximately $68,750. The coin's weight exceeded the standard 2.268 grams, its silver composition was confirmed through testing, and its condition remained strong enough to attract competitive bidding from advanced collectors. Another exceptional example surfaced in the early 2020s, when a high-grade 1967 Roosevelt dime error, believed to be a transitional off-metal strike with outstanding preservation, reportedly sold through a private sale for a figure approaching $155,900. Collectors were willing to pay such a price because the coin represented an extraordinary survival from a chaotic period in U.S. minting history, backed by professional authentication and rarity that may never be repeated. Collectors evaluate these coins through a combination of factors working together. Weight is often the first and most decisive test. A deviation from the official 2.268 gram standard immediately raises red flags. Condition is equally important, as sharp details and original surfaces dramatically increase desirability. Professional grading provides assurance that the error is genuine and not the result of damage. Finally, documented sales history anchors value in reality rather than speculation. Perhaps the most fascinating part of the 1967 Roosevelt dime error story is where these coins are found. Many were discovered not by experts but by ordinary people sorting through old change jars, inherited collections, or forgotten drawers. Because the dime carried no mint mark and looked identical to millions of others, it often passed through countless hands without notice. The enduring lesson of the 1967 U.S. Roosevelt one-dime error coin is that history and value often hide in plain sight. Checking dates, examining details, weighing coins against the official 2.268-gram standard, and researching verified sold prices can uncover remarkable surprises. Even the smallest coin, struck during a moment of national transition, can carry a value of $68,750 to $155,900, waiting patiently for someone curious enough to recognize it.